and welcome to Quillpen's Quips, Knitting and More podcast. This is episode 7. I am Betsy, also known as Quillpen on Instagram and Ravelry. There's also the Quillpen's Quips podcast on Instagram, and we have a Quillpen's Quips, Knitting and More group on Ravelry. And I highly recommend that you check that out. If you're on Ravelry, join our group. Join the discussions and introduce yourself on the Introduce Yourself thread, because if you do that, I will give you a shout out on a future podcast. And we have someone that did that this last time. And so we have Jen, who is Chapel Smack on Ravelry, and she joined to introduce herself. And Jen is one of my friends from college. And I do have vague memories of her being into fiber arts during college, but I had no interest in fiber arts, so I didn't really care about it. But she and I were theater nerds together, and I just always enjoyed our time together at college, and so it's fun to be reconnecting over fiber arts and Ravelry and things like this. She also has a really cool blog called thesensiblesheep.com, and she does a lot of posts about fun fibery things and things she's making and festivals she goes to and things. So I've enjoyed reading that. So you should check that out too. So welcome, Jen, and welcome to everybody. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. If you're a brand new viewer, thanks for checking me out. If you are a regular viewer and have been keeping track of my podcasting schedule, you will know that I am a day late. Normally, I record on Mondays, but today is Tuesday, October 11th. And I was gone for the weekend. I got back Sunday evening, and then Monday was just busy. I had lots of meetings and appointments, and the afternoon got a little crazy, and so recording didn't happen. So it's happening today, and we actually just got back from the gym. We went to the gym this morning. Our gym has a really nice child care program. So the boys got to play, and then we got home, and it was nap time. So they're down for naps now. So get to do a little podcasting with you guys and chat about my knitting. And so, without further ado, let's get started. First up, for what is off my needles, I do have a finished object. I was pretty close to having these finished for the last podcast, so you should probably be expecting these, but it's my strawberry socks. And you can see the fun design. It's like the strawberry cable pattern here, and then she does what's called the cream pattern up here for the leg. My legs are just short because I make short socks, and then a cuff. So I finished both of those. And this is the Sparkle Twinkle Twist, I think, in the Candy Apple Red, but I'm calling it my strawberry socks. And with this, finished all of the Coffee with MKAL. Oh, this is Unplanned Peacock Studio, sorry. Anyways, this finished all of the projects from the Coffee with CC book for the Coffee with MKAL that the Knitting Broomstick podcast is hosting for the whole year. So with this, I finished all 7 projects, and I'm the first to finish all 7 projects, but there's still quite a bit of time in the year for everybody else to finish, but maybe I have a good chance of winning the prize. Then I also finished my design for the challenge, the sample. I had to kind of redo it and redo the math. So this is just a simple little cowl, kind of a fun open lace pattern at the top, and as it progresses, changes to a different lace pattern and then a texture pattern down at the bottom. And this yarn was Wonderland yarns in there with What Porpoise colorway. And it was a gradient kit. The gradient really isn't showing up on the camera, but it does gradient down to a darker purple down here. But so I finished that sample. I don't know whether this will turn into a published design or not, but I really enjoyed it and it's been fun to wear. Little cozy. And then I was waiting and waiting and waiting for the Stephen West mystery knit along to start, and I still had like a week. So I made my boys some hats from the Top This yarn that I mentioned before with the football and the Steelers colors because they didn't have Broncos. So the boys love them already. So this is this one, and then whoops, I had a second ball. So this is this one, and it's a little different. The yarn stripe just a little bit differently. The I have to fix this string on the football, but so those are the two for the older boys. And then I had a teeny little bit of yarn left over, so I made a little fluff up the pom pom a little bit here. I made a little baby version for little baby brother because he should arrive in January, so we'll still have a little bit of football time after he's born, so he can snuggle in this little newborn hat with a little pom-pom. And that used up every little bit of yarn. So those are my finished objects for this time to show you. I feel like I was just kind of trying to find projects to do to wait for the Stephen West, but such is the life of a monogamous knitter, and that is why I have some of these smaller projects in my stash that I can just whip up in a couple of days. But then that brings us to what is actually on my needles, which is the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along Shawl 2016, the Building Blocks Shawl. I am so enjoying it. Let me figure out which is the right side. This is the right side. Let's see if I can show it to you here. I am loving it. My yarn is in the middle. Okay, so let's see if I can scoop it up here for you. Spread it out a little bit. There it is. I love it. I really am liking how my colors are working out. These are all Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Singles, which is a 1-ply, which in the past I have not really liked working with 1-ply, but so far this is going pretty well. I haven't dealt with any splitting really yet. It's very soft and squishy, and you can kind of, I think this is kind of what he means by the building blocks maybe. And there is been some hints that we will be coming back and picking up some of this on the sides as it comes around. So he implied that we might be picking up some of that. It's a lot of I-cord. Every new level that you add is an I-cord. So like we finished this and then came over and did I-cord on the sides and then did this section back and forth, and then you add more I-cord. So that was fun. I hadn't really done I-cord before, and I will probably be quite experienced by the end of this. I have 3 rows left in Clue 1, and then I'm done until Friday. And at first I thought this was pooling kind of weird, this lagoon colorway, but I actually really like it now, and I think it's pretty cool. So my 4 colorways are, this dark one is Graphite, and then so that's A. B is Lagoon, which you can also see up here by itself. This is Zephyr by itself, and then this is actually Dragonfly and Graphite mixed together. I didn't, it's very, very hard to see that. You know, you don't really, you pick your A, B, C, and D, and you don't really know how they're going to go together. But, so it kind of just looks like one big colorway because they blended. But overall, I'm really happy with it. My first Mystery Knit Along, my first Stephen West, first I-cord. But it's going well. So I have 3 rows left, so I should finish that today. I should finish that before nap time is over, hopefully, depending on how long we chat here. But I should finish that pretty soon. So that's really the only thing that's on my needles right now. But when I finish those 3 rows, I still have 3 days until the next clue comes out. So I'm going to be doing some design stuff, and I just got some yarn for a very specific design project I'm going to do, but I'm going to keep this one a secret. I'm using Knitpicks yarn in their Alpaca Cloud fingering, which is so soft. I'm very excited to work with it in some specific colorways, and so I'm not going to show anything of that to you, but I'm excited about it, so I'll be working on that. I will also probably, depending on how that goes and how quickly I get that kind of started, I'm also going to probably start working on a pair of sock design with my Miss Babs Morticia colorway for my birthday. My birthday's next month, and I thought it'd be fun to make a fun birthday sock design. And I just love this. I just love this colorway. Kind of matches my shirt today. So the other design project is a little more important, but this one would be due sooner. So I kind of have to weigh that balance. But those are the two things I'll be kind of doing in between my Stephen West clues, working on some designs. So that's sort of what's on my needles and coming up. But then don't forget, in November starts our knit along for our group. We're going to do the painted windows pattern by Casa Pinka. I really need to just print it off so I have a picture to show you, but I keep forgetting. It's on Ravelry. It's a paid pattern. 2 skeins of fingering weight yarn. She recommends 1 in a neutral, I think, and 1 in a variegated to make the windows pop. The variegated becomes the window section. And so this is what I went for my neutral. I looked through some of the other projects people have made, and I really like the ones that kind of had a darker feel. And then I want a sort of, this is Rock Shelter Sock in Fire Pit. It's a very dark gray. It's almost, I feel like this looks a little bluish on the camera, but it really is a gray with a blue, it's a blue type of gray, and a darker black. And so I want this to be my neutral, and I really want something kind of blue or tealy or purpley for the variegated, a little brighter. So I'm still in the hunt for that. But I just discovered Brew City Yarns, BREWCITY yarns, and I love their yarn. You should go look at their website, brewcityyarns.com. They have some really fun colorways, especially if you have kind of a fandom feel. Like they have some Firefly colorways, they have Wizard of Oz color, they have a lot of Disney colorways, they have Sherlock, just a lot of really fun colorways that really make you think of those things. So if you're into those, so there's a few on there that I'm eyeing. There's not a whole lot in my stash that pairs well with this, and I really think I want to go with this. So we'll see. I'm still figuring out my yarns. I still have a couple weeks. So do you. So get ready, because the knit along will go from November, December, and January. So cast on November 1st or later, finish by the end of January, and there will be a prize. So keep that in mind. I'm still working on that. But I did get some acquisitions this week, some stash enhancements, if you will, that I wanted to share with you guys. First, I finally caught a Woolen Vine Shop update. I've been watching Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast for a while now, probably since July or August, and I just have loved her yarns when she's shown them in skein form, like when she's ready to do a shop update, as well as when she knits with them. And I just have had my eye on them, but I had not been able to catch a shop update either. Like I didn't realize that if you don't get on there right at that moment, within 10 minutes it'll all be gone. So a few times I've been like, oh, shop updates at 7, and I kind of get on at 7:30 and there's nothing left. Or then one time I did get on, but I was quite the victim of cartjacking, where if you don't check out fast enough, I kind of thought that if I put it in my cart, then I had it and I could keep browsing. No. But she did change her format on her website. So now if you put it in your cart, you do have a full 5 minutes before it can be taken away to check out. And if you've registered on her website, then that checking out process goes much faster. So, but anyway, so one day I set my phone alarm. I was on there at the exact time she started and I caught exactly what I wanted. And I got her, this is her blitzed base. I don't know if you can see some of the sparkle coming through in the Enjoy the Silence colorway, which I just feel like is perfect for me. I feel like so many times everyone sort of feels bad for deaf people and hard of hearing people because our worlds are much more silent than everyone else's. But we can enjoy the silence, and you can enjoy the silence too. So I feel like this colorway is meant to be mine. So I went ahead and got the Blitz base because I've been excited about sparkles recently, although she has this on all of her bases. And so this is a 7525 in superwash merino nylon, and then her stellina in the sock base. And it's her blitzed base. And I was thinking this might go with this, but this has a lot of browns in it, and it's just a little more saturated and darker, a little more deeper color than I was thinking. So I don't love it with this black. And I feel like maybe this should be something extra special just for me by itself as sort of my Enjoy the Silence project. So I think I'm going to do something else special with this. Then I had ordered, I got on there and there was a special one-of-a-kind colorway called, I think it was called Not My Circus or something like that. It was cute. It was greens and blues and just fun. It was a fun colorway. So I ordered that one too, but then I got a message from her pretty quickly that she was really sorry, but somehow the program, that was a one-of-a-kind colorway from before, and somehow the program had allowed it to get back orders, but she said she didn't have any more of it and there wasn't a way to make more. So she offered either to refund me for that skein or to send me a skein of her current special Halloween colorway that she was dyeing special. And so I said, I'll take the special skein. So it was really nice. We got to, she was emailing me back and forth right away that night. So she had some excellent customer service. So I definitely recommend Wool & Vine yarns, especially if there is a little problem or a snafu like that. She does have some excellent customer service. So then I got this, which is really pretty. This is her Moon Cusser colorway on her footsie, which is 80/20 superwash blue faced Leicester, is that how you say that? And nylon. Fingering weight. And it's just got these oranges and purples. So I'm really excited to make something Halloween-y, autumn-y with this. Maybe some fingerless mitts or a fun hat or something. So that was a special splurge that I got in that package. So I was really excited. So those are my two Wool & Vine. I finally own some Wool & Vine yarn, and that's very exciting. What was also exciting is I won a prize from TM's Crafty Knits podcast. I don't think I have ever won a prize from something I've entered knitting wise. My husband wins everything. Everything. He's constantly winning things. But I won a door prize, and so I wanted to show it to you. First off, she sent me this. It came with this really cute handmade card just for you. It's called Jen's Card Creations. Her mom made this. Isn't that so sweet with the little owls? And it's textured, and oh, it was just super cute. So I loved the card. Then it came with this really fun tote bag with with unicorns on it, and it says "Believe in Unicorns." And Tam has the same one, so we're going to be bag twins, which is fun. And it came with this really pretty tape measure on a lanyard, which has been fun. It was in a box, but I've already been using it, so it came out. And it's just really pretty and kind of Victorian-esque. I loved that. And then I got this super fun skein of yarn called Accident in the Candy Cane Factory. It's a one-of-a-kind colorway. It's an 80% wool, 20% nylon. I love it. Accident in a Candy Cane Factory. So this is going to be something fun for winter. And I might save it for the Geeky Girls Knits, their winter KAL. So I'm excited about that. So thank you, Tam. I was very excited to win it. And it came all the way from Australia, which was special. Even with all of their weather troubles and flooding, she was able to get it out to me, and I really appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to everyone who supported me during the release of my recent 2 designs, the shawl and the cowl and sort of the story behind it. I had a lot of really encouraging feedback from that, so I really appreciate that. So thank you. And I did, if you haven't ordered them yet, you still have a chance to win one. I am offering a purchase of any of the patterns from my Ravelry shop to the Geeky Girls Knits podcast for a prize for their autumnal KAL that's going on right now. The artistic autumnal artistic, something like that, KAL that's going on right now. There's still another month or 2 to enter. 1 month. I think it ends in October. So you still have some time to get some stuff in, and then if you win my prize, you can pick any of the patterns from my shop, including either the shawl or the cowl. So there's lots of awesome prizes that they've got going on. So whether you want my prize or not, you should definitely join their KAL. My final, and I did get all those Knit Picks yarn that I'm not showing you. That was also a stash enhancement acquisition this week. And then while we were out of town, we went to a yarn shop, and I finally purchased the Knit and Crochet coloring book, I Dream of Yarn. Just lots of, there's an octopus knitting. Just lots of fun pages to color. I do love to color, and I've been seeing this everywhere, and so I finally caved and purchased it. So that's been a fun acquisition to add to my knitting products. So that ends our fiber related section. I think that's all I have to show you. So let's move on. Next is reading and watching, and I had to write down because we have so much. Well, reading isn't so bad. Reading, our book club is currently reading Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, and it's good. Oh, so I should start a disclaimer here. I may have spoiler alerts. I try to not spoil things, but I might be spoiling anything from here on down for the shows as well. So if I'm mentioning a show that you watch that you don't want to be spoiled for, skip ahead. Final warning. Okay, so Rebecca. So I'm in chapter 14, I think. I'm about to start 15. And I would say I am 90% sure that she was murdered. It was going along, a nice little romantic sort of book. Guy's wife died. He meets this new girl. They're traveling. They spend a lot of time together, and then he asks her to marry him, and she goes back home with him. And then, they don't talk about the dead wife, and that's all sort of fine. And then she gets to the house, and it's kind of weird because the old wife lived there, and it's still all her stuff and whatnot. And I'm kind of reading, and then one chapter hits, and it starts speaking my language of murder mysteries. Things aren't adding up. Weird conversations. 2 months to find her body when it was a boating accident. Just some things are changing, and I am thinking somebody murdered her. Now, whether it's a murder mystery, like whether that's the point and they're trying to solve who did it, or whether you find out who did it or any of that, I don't know yet. I have my ideas of who did it, but I really do think I'm going to find out by the end of the book that she didn't just die in a boating accident, that there was some help involved. So that's Rebecca. So I'm really enjoying that, much more than The House of Mirth, which was last month. So that's our book club for this month. I'm also reading for a friend. I'm in a writing group on Facebook, and with some of my friends and new friends that I met through the group. But we all are writers, or dabble in writing and kind of check in with each other and set little goals or proofread for each other or whatever. So he finished this book that he's interested in publishing, and so he asked if anybody would be willing to read it. And so I'm also reading that one. So I don't know if he wants anything said about it on social media and like title or anything like that. It's sort of a science fiction future world feel, and so I'm enjoying that too. So I'm reading that for him, and I'm reading that one a little slower so that I can kind of really pay attention and see if there's anything, so I can give good constructive criticism instead of just being like, it was good, I liked it. So I'm reading those. I'm focused on those two right now. Then watching. We are watching so many shows right now. Here's our list: Blacklist, Person of Interest, New Girl, Pitch, Designated Survivor, Hell's Kitchen, Once Upon a Time, Lucifer, and This Is Us. Somehow we are getting these watched. When we wrote down the list finally of what it was and like which night they're on, so that we know kind of what's available, because we don't ever watch it the night it's on, we always watch it later. But we kind of know, oh, okay, so now today is Tuesday, so what aired Sunday or Monday? Andrew was like, we have way too much time on our hands. But that will change once we get fully into basketball here soon. But for now, we're enjoying it. So Blacklist, top of the list. I'm really enjoying it. I wasn't real happy when he got mad at Mr. Kaplan. But we also don't know who took her, who's helping her. Andrew thinks it's somebody we do know, or somebody that knows her. I'm not sure. I have no idea. So I'm excited. I'm interested to see what happens with Kaplan and kind of how she responds to Reddington now that this has happened. The whole storyline with, I'm kind of tired of Lizzie. She's kind of getting on my nerves. She's not the greatest actress in the world, and the whole like attitude she has going on now, not my favorite. But there's still quite a bit of humor that's keeping it. Person of Interest has kind of been the same old as it's been. We're still dealing with the machine versus Samaritan, and we do know that Shaw is alive, but she's kind of being brainwashed by Samaritan, and but it's still good. New Girl, it's our lighthearted, funny, end the night if we want something stressful. Schmidt and Cece are married now. I kind of hope the whole thing isn't just back and forth with Nick drama for Jess, that she finds somebody really good that's good, and it's not always back to Nick if he's doing good with, I don't know. So, but it's a fun thing. Pitch, brand new show. Are you guys watching Pitch? It's about a female making the major leagues. She gets signed by the San Jose Padres. It has the guy from Saved by the Bell. The guy who played Zach on Saved by the Bell is one of the main guys in this show. I will watch it just for him. He has this big beard now. He looks totally different, but it's definitely still him. And it's just been a fun show about this girl playing baseball in the major leagues, and we've been enjoying it. Designated Survivor, Kiefer Sutherland. The whole premise is that when there's a State of the Union address, one of the members of, I want to say Congress, I forget now, is it Congress or is it the cabinet? Anyways, Designated Survivor is saved out, so that if something happens during the State of the Union address that takes out the Congress and the president, then there's still someone to be president. There's two designated survivors, and I think it's the one that's the same party as the current president is the one that becomes the president. So Kiefer Sutherland has become the president, and so obviously there's people that are not okay with this, He was not in the lineup to become president. Nobody voted for him. So he's got a lot of opposition. But then it's really hard to watch it without thinking 24 and being like, oh my goodness, this is Jack Bauer. He's the ideal candidate to take over for president. Kind of have to push that aside. It's hard to watch it without that. But it also has the guy from Cool Runnings. Have y'all watched Cool Runnings? I love Jamaica. Jamaica's a big deal to me. So of course I know Cool Runnings. But the guy who plays Yul Brynner on Cool Runnings also, he also played in Alphas. If you watched Alphas, I forget his name in Alphas, but he's in it. He's the head of FBI, I think. So we've been enjoying that. Hell's Kitchen we also watch. That's also another one of our lighthearted, although it's very dramatic, but it's not really scary. You can watch it before bed. We enjoy watching. I do enjoy Gordon Ramsay's shows, and everyone kind of they see him on Hell's Kitchen, and he's hard, and he's cussing all the time, and he's yelling at everybody, and he's always mad at somebody, and throwing people out of the kitchen, and putting people down, and which I get, and so people don't like him. They're like, oh, I don't like Gordon Ramsay. He's mean. He's really mean. But I think what people have to remember is that for Hell's Kitchen, he is dealing with current trained chefs who are interviewing, basically, to become a head chef for one of his restaurants. So he's serious about this. They have to be good. They have to handle the pressure of a full restaurant, his quality standards, his techniques, all of that. But then if you watch him in something like MasterChef or MasterChef Junior, where it's home cooks from across America that are coming to compete, he is really nice and really encouraging. And he's like, there are some really sweet moments that happen on MasterChef and MasterChef Junior that you kind of get to see him. You get to see him sometimes with his family and his kids, and see him as a dad. And there is just he's very well-rounded. You get to see a lot of sides of him across the two shows. So I don't mind how rough and how hard he is in Hell's Kitchen. Although, let me tell you, I didn't realize how hard it was to cook scallops. Apparently scallops are impossible to cook, let alone a beef Wellington. Although now I'm really interested in tasting a beef Wellington after watching all these seasons of Hell's Kitchen. Once Upon a Time is back. They had ended the season bringing in Jekyll and Hyde, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed that twist. So Jekyll and Hyde are still there. Then they brought in the Count of Monte Cristo, which I thought was a very interesting twist in terms of revenge. So that was interesting. Because I guess technically the Count of Monte Cristo is maybe based in fairy tale. I don't know. I have no idea how he got in there. But the evil queen found him to help her with her revenge. Because he's so good at this whole revenge thing. So Count of Monte Cristo. And then this last episode was about they brought kind of back Cinderella. And I thought it was interesting how Cinderella's stepsisters and stepmother, which again, there's always a twist. It's never what you think it is from the traditional stories. But they were actually in the land of untold stories. Because it's true, Andrew was saying, you hear about them in Cinderella's story. But then you rarely hear anything about them afterwards. So, they were in the land of untold stories. Now we know. Lucifer, we actually haven't watched the most recent episode of Lucifer. We still have to catch up on that. So I don't have much to say about that. And then This Is Us. The brand new show that everyone's saying is if you liked Parenthood, this is like the new Parenthood. I can see why it's good. During the flashbacks, it has the guy from Gilmore Girls who plays Jess. So I liked that. Although I'm not sure how many flashbacks they'll be doing. He's the father from before. But it's a very sweet show. We also haven't watched the most recent episode, so I've only watched the first two. But it's very, very sweet. I love it so far. So I highly, highly recommend that one too if you want like a feel-good, might make you cry at times, I don't know, sort of show. So that's all that we're watching. That is quite a long list. But we're never out of things to watch, so that's good too. Whenever we have some free time, we're catching up on shows. So there's a lot going on there. So that was a long section. So let's move on to the next section. And for sign language today, we're going to do some Halloween related signs. And the sign for Halloween is, well, there's two. There's Halloween or there's Halloween, both from the mask idea. I feel like I tend to do Halloween, but I've also seen Halloween or Halloween. Then pumpkin. Teach pumpkin. Like you're testing the freshness of a pumpkin. Pumpkin. Ghost. You can pull it out from like a fisted hand, ghost, or I tend to do, because they're wispy at the bottom too. So ghost or spirit, same thing. Ghost. You can like ghost, spirit. Then dragon. We were at Walmart the other day, and there was one of those big blow up lawn decorations that you fill with air, big gigantic tall ones that were up on top of the displays, and one was a dragon that was breathing fire, and my 2-year-old was fascinated. So now he's constantly walking around being like, the dragon says ah, and we had to walk multiple times around that loop so we could see the dragon. So dragon, fire coming out of his mouth. The dragon says so I thought we should add that one. And then witch. Make a little hook with your, and you don't just make the X and then add it to your nose. You kind of move it out. Witches' nose are often ugly. So witch. So that is Halloween or Halloween, pumpkin, ghost, dragon, and witch. Those are your first set of Halloween signs. We'll do some more next time. And that brings us to the end of today's podcast. It's a nice, quick one, I feel like. It flew by. So I am excited to get knitting on those last 3 rows of my Stephen West knit along and getting on with some lunch and the rest of our day. So I hope you guys have a great day, a great week. And make sure that you find me on social media. I am Quillpen on Instagram. There's Quillpen's Quips podcast on Instagram. I'm Quillpen on Ravelry, and there's Quillpen's Quips Knitting and More group on Ravelry. And then also here on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe so that you are sent a notification every time a new episode pops up. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Happy knitting!